Banger after banger.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post. You already know the vibes. And I'm back at you with your Smackdown, Smack It Down, Smack Your Face Off, Smackdown review. And real talk, man, this was a good show. It was entertaining, but there were only two things I really want to talk about. So I'm going to just breeze through everything that happened on SmackDown to get to the two major stories that happened. So, Logan Paul, he's back. He said he wants to challenge somebody for the United States Championship because Kevin Owens is talking trash. He said he's a paper champion. He's not a real champion and blah, blah, blah. Kevin Owens and Austin Theory had a match. Kevin Owens actually used the brass knuckles and properly hit them this time, so good for you, Kevin Owens, you're learning. There was a fatal four-way tag team match to determine the number one contenders. So what happens is on SmackDown we had one fatal four-way match, which British Strong Style, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate won, and they will face the winner of a fatal four-way tag team match that is going to happen on Raw. So and that's going to determine who faces the Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber, I think. So there's that. And I gotta say that the fatal four-way tag team match, it was dope, man. LWO really got to showcase what they can do, what they've been doing on NXT, so that made me happy. Final Testament and the Hurt Business, the Street Business, whatever they're called, they were supposed to wrestle, but they just ended up fighting before the match actually happened. So I'm assuming there's going to be a rematch because you had Scarlett trying to jump Bobby Lashley, but you had B-Fab finally showing up with her boys, with the squad, so now she's officially a part of the group. So, good for her, especially on Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to all of you. We had a whole bunch of contract tampering and contract talks going on this entire episode of SmackDown. It's official, though. Naomi is back in the WWE and she's officially on the SmackDown brand. And someone else who's on the SmackDown brand now is Tiffany Stratton. She finally got the call up from NXT, so I'm very happy for her. I'm very proud. She's been doing her thing down there and she's going to showcase what she can do on the main roster. She ended up having a match with Mia Yim because Tiffany Stratton slapped Mia Yim in the face backstage, so that led to them having a match. And it was actually the main event. And Tiffany Stratton even got the little title transition card thing graphic that they do now, which is pretty cool, so good for her. She ended up getting the win with the prettiest moonsault ever. Good first victory for Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown. This episode of SmackDown really was the ladies show because you had Bianca Belair, she's being a vocal point of the show. You also had Jade Cargill in the back. It's looking like Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are trying to court her. You even had Braun Breaker talking to Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, so he's making his decision as to which brand he's going to pretty soon. But ultimately, speaking of the women, speaking of making decisions, speaking of picking, you had Bayley coming out to make her decision, to make her pick as to who she's going to face at WrestleMania. She won the Royal Rumble, so now it's decision time. And one thing we saw was you had Iyo Sky, Asuka, and Kyrie in the back. They're looking at footage of Bayley winning the Royal Rumble, and they're pretty much talking trash. They're saying, listen, tonight's the night that Bayley gets hers. But what they didn't know was Bayley was pulling a Batista, and she heard everything that Damage Control said. So what ended up happening was Bayley was like, listen, Damage Control was supposed to be a family. It was supposed to be something awesome. It was supposed to be this special thing. And it turns out your biggest ops are the people that are supposed to be in your corner this whole time. And it's also revealed that Bayley can speak Japanese. Where did this come from? She said something. I don't know what she said, but it sounded cool when she said it. And Damage Control was looking confused. And Bayley wants to answer. She's like, why have you guys been talking trash about me? Especially you, Iyo, ever since Kyrie and Asuka came back around. But before she could really finish what she was saying, the Joshis ended up jumping Bayley. But Bayley laid some pipe, man. She pulled a pipe out of nowhere. She put the pipe all up in Damage Control's stomach. You know what I'm saying? Pipes for everybody. And there was even a cool shot of Bayley holding up the pipe and Iyo Sky holding up the women's championship. So it's official WrestleMania. Bayley, Iyo Sky, two former friends turned into bitter enemies, bitter rivals. It's going down big at WrestleMania. And there was one thing I noticed. The one thing I noticed was Dakota Kai was not out here. She was missing. She was posting on Twitter, oh, what happened? What was going on? Heartbreak emoji. But it's like, you had something to do with this too. You're not innocent either, Miss Adorable Face You. You're in it to win it too. So we got to wait and see what happens. But speaking of waiting to see what happens, speaking of WrestleMania, speaking of Royal Rumble winners, we have Cody Rhodes. It's decision time for old dashing Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. He has to make a decision. Seth Rollins has been begging like he sweat this entire week on social media. Pick me. I'm a good guy. I have a job, blah, blah, blah. But then you have Roman Reigns. He comes out. He makes all of Alabama acknowledge him. And then he proceeds to go and cook the ever-loving hell out of Seth Rollins. I'm like, yo, what did Seth Rollins do to deserve this? He's talking trash about him being a workhorse. He's saying the workhorses walk around like this with a limp. He said he's been walking around for 2 years wearing his wife's clothes. I'm like, Roman, chill out, bro. You don't have to cook him. Seth Rollins came out of this looking like a burnt hot dog at the end of the day, man. But like I said, it's time for Cody to make his decision. And he even mentioned the fact, Seth was talking a whole bunch of good stuff, but it's all about finishing the story. And I'm like, yes, we're finally going to get the rematch. And Cody's saying all these good things. He's talking about finishing the story. And he's talking about how Roman screwed him over last year and how Roman can't beat him. I'm like, yeah, you said, Cody. You pointed at the sign. You pointed at Roman Reigns. You make that decision, homeboy. And Cody was saying that he talked to his friends, he talked to family, he talked to legends. And matter of fact, he talked to one legend that knows you very well, Roman. And it turns out that legend was The Rock. And the place went crazy for The Rock. I'm at home going crazy. I stood up for like 35 minutes. I didn't sit down once. Because it's The Rock. It's the face-off I've been wanting. But there was one thing I noticed that Cody said. He said that he does want Roman Reigns, but not at WrestleMania. I'm like, whoa, that's the whole point of the Royal Rumble, my boy. You pointed at the sign, the pyro goes off, you get the main event of WrestleMania. So I don't know what Cody has cooking with this, but the show ended with The Rock and Roman Reigns going face to face. And that's it. That's the closing shot. You got cousin versus cousin, chief versus chief, head of the table versus the people's champion, now the corporate champion because he's got himself a board position and whatnot. And I'm like, what happens now? Is it going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? What's going on with Cody? Who is going to fight Goku? Do we find out next week on Dragon Ball Z? I don't know. But it's intriguing stuff. It's must-see TV. And The Rock's been saying for the longest time he wants to make this feel special. He wants to make this feel big time. And this is kind of a good way to do it. But what does this do for Cody? Because, like, if you're going to go through all this, bro, you could have just picked Seth Rollins on Raw and saved us a whole entire episode of SmackDown. And just giving us The Rock versus Roman at the end of the day. But I don't know, bro. We got to see what happens. We got to see where these stories go. Is it going to be The Rock versus Roman? It's kind of looking that way. But let me know what you guys think about this developing story in the comment section below. Are you excited for WrestleMania? Are you excited for Rock versus Roman? Are you kind of looking at Cody like, what the hell are you drinking or smoking? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, subscribe. You guys take care of these. I'm out. Peace.